What would you do if a normal afternoon in your town suddenly turned into smoke in the sky, sirens, and people running? Not because of a storm, not because of politics, but because a rumor started spreading that something unthinkable had been happening right in the open. If you grew up in Nigeria, especially in the late 90s, you probably remember the tension in the air back then. The way word of mouth could move faster than the radio. The way a single name could travel from market stalls to bus parks in minutes. In 1996, in Owerri, Imo State, one name did exactly that: Otokoto. Here's what I mean. This wasn't just a crime story. It became a spark, a city on edge, streets filled with anger, buildings set ablaze, trust shattered overnight, parents holding their children closer, businesses suddenly feeling unsafe. Think about it this way. Imagine waking up and realizing that the place you thought was ordinary, maybe even boring, had been hiding something darker. And now the whole country is watching your town. The Otokoto ritual killing case didn't just end lives. It changed a community. It changed how people looked at wealth, at power, at neighbors. And I believe it forced Nigeria to confront a hard truth about silence and complicity. This story isn't about shock. It's about consequences, about how fear spreads, about how a single case can ignite a city. Before we continue, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Okay, let's proceed. All right, before we get into this, I need to say something clearly. If you grew up in Nigeria, you probably already feel that name in your chest a little. I do too. It wasn't just a crime. It shook an entire country. It sparked riots. It exposed fear that had been sitting under the surface for years. In 1996, a young boy named Victor was killed in what authorities described as a ritual-related crime connected to the Otokoto Hotel in Owerri. The case triggered massive public outrage. Businesses were burned, streets filled with protest. Trust broke down overnight. Think about it this way. This wasn't just about one horrific act. It was about what people believed was happening behind closed doors. Power, money, ritual rumors, fear of the unknown. That's why it exploded the way it did. And before we go further, here's the important part. This video discusses a real criminal case for educational and documentary purposes. It is not meant to sensationalize violence, promote fear, or spread unverified claims. The goal is to look at what happened, how it affected the community, and what we can learn from it. I won't be graphic. I won't dramatize suffering. Some stories demand respect more than spectacle. If you're ready, let's carefully walk through what really happened in Owerri in 1996.
In September 1996, a young boy named Onyemachi Okeke, often reported to be around 11 years old, was reported missing in Owerri. He had been sent on an errand. He didn't return home. At first, it looked like a missing child case. Families searched. Questions were asked. Time passed. Then information began to surface that linked his disappearance to a hotel in the city, known as the Otokoto Hotel. Here's what that means in simple terms. Attention shifted from a missing child to a possible organized crime involving adults with influence and money. Investigations led authorities to individuals connected to the hotel and other associates in Owerri. During the inquiry, evidence was uncovered indicating that the child had been killed as part of what investigators described as ritual-related activity tied to financial gain. Let me pause there. When people say ritual killing in this context, they're talking about the belief that harming someone could bring wealth or success. That belief, whether rooted in superstition or manipulation, was central to the motive investigators presented in court. Several suspects were arrested, Among those charged were individuals associated with the Otokoto Hotel and local businessmen. The case quickly expanded beyond one building. It exposed a network of people allegedly participating in or covering up the crime. News spread fast, and this is important. Public outrage in Owerri escalated rapidly. Protests broke out. Crowds gathered. The Otokoto Hotel was eventually set on fire by angry residents. Other properties believed to be connected to suspects were also attacked. Think about it this way. The community didn't just see this as one crime. They saw it as proof of something darker operating behind closed doors. That anger spilled into the streets. Law enforcement eventually regained control of the situation, but the unrest marked one of the most significant public reactions to a criminal case in the region at the time. The suspects were prosecuted. Trials followed. Some of the accused were convicted and sentenced under Nigerian law. Now here's my stance, and I'm not neutral about it. What happened in Owerri in 1996 wasn't just a criminal act. It was a collapse of trust. A child disappeared. Adults in positions of influence were accused of using violence for personal gain. And the public response showed how deep the fear and frustration already were. This case forced conversations across Nigeria about ritual crimes, wealth obsession, and accountability. It also exposed how quickly communities can erupt when they feel the system has failed. At its center, though, is one fact that shouldn't get lost. A child left home on an errand and never came back. Everything else, the hotel, the arrests, the riots, the trials, all of that matters. But that's the core of it, and that's the part we shouldn't forget. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.